I'd been a doctor for about 25 years, and I remember coming home and at the kitchen table, Joy and I were having dinner. I said, honey, I looked after people like us. And I said, honey, I'm having my prescription pads pre-printed for painkillers and anti-inflammatories, and I'm looking after our friends, and I'm helping them, and I'm killing them at the same time with the side effects. Do you know what I'm talking about? And I said, there's got to be something else that will help people, and I'm going to find it. And I started to study. And I studied, I'm a student as well as a teacher, and I'm a diligent student, and I studied for 4.5 years, and I never actually found anything that I could put my mind behind. And if I couldn't put my mind behind it, I wasn't going to put my heart behind it. If I couldn't put my heart behind it, I wasn't going to introduce it to my patients. Make sense? Right? I really loved what I was doing. And so then a strange thing happened. My father had had a stroke in 1989. He was 76. And for the next 10 years, he suffered with agony in his right wrist. And as doctors, we don't know why people have that post-stroke discomfort. You know? And I can remember my dad was a great big football player type guy, and I can remember him sitting on the edge of the bed. He'd just sit there like that, and he'd say, Jim, isn't there anything you can do for me? And my heart would melt, and I'd say, Dad, I'm your son, not your doctor, and I really don't know what else to do for you. And then in about 1999, Mom was developing Alzheimer's that we could recognize. She had gone to the bank, which was just 2 blocks away from her house, and it took her 8 hours to get home. And she was driving around and around and around, couldn't find her house. And fortunately, a neighbor saw her driving around and went out and stopped the car. This is in downtown Toronto, you know, big city, a lot of bad things could have happened, right? And he said, lady, show me your license. And so he said, Mrs. Bews, you live right over there. And so he took her over to her garage, and Dad phoned us, and very quickly we arranged to have Mom and Dad go into a retirement home up in Ottawa where my sister lived at the time. And when he got up there, he got a new set of doctors, right? Now, my dad was a nice guy. If you'd have met him, you'd have liked him. And his doctors liked him too. And so they said, Mal, you're 86 years old. You're in agony. You're on morphine. We really don't have much more to offer than what you're on already. So, but here's what we can do. Somebody got a pen? Can I borrow your pen? We can take a syringe and we can fill it up with a poison, and we can inject it into your spinal cord, and we can selectively kill the nerves to your right arm, and you'll be pain-free. You're 86. I mean, how long can you live? And so So my sister, thinking this wasn't a good idea, went to her next-door neighbor who worked for a company called Nikken. I'd never heard of them, and said, do you have anything from your Japanese healthcare company that would help my dad? And the woman quite rightly said, I don't know. Why don't you try this little hand wrap? It goes from about the middle of your hand to about 2 inches past your wrist. It sure has helped a lot of other people. And so my sister took that hand wrap into my dad. It was September 19th, 1999, and put it on his wrist. And after 10 years of agony, unrelieved by anti-inflammatories and morphine several times a day, his pain was gone in 30 minutes. Isn't that an amazing story?